For this last section of practice, again, pick a different material that you would like to work with and a different color scheme from what we were doing before. So just try to put together a different combination of materials that you haven't used yet. So what I'm using here is book pages, and I'm going to paint on top of them. And then I'm going to rip those pieces up and collage them for the bottom section of my portrait. I'm also going to be using charcoal on top to add a little bit of texture. And then I'm using a complementary color scheme, so I'm using blue and orange. But again, just try different combinations, try out different materials. And then at the end, we're going to be painting on top of them to refine the details and bring back a little bit more. So again, like I said, I'm starting out painting these, so I'm using a blue paint. I went dark to light with it just to emphasize the value change. And then just to throw in a new different type of material, I used some cardboard as well. And painted the cardboard blue. So I end up using the cardboard for the darker areas, and then I use this orange color in the bottom here for the lighter section. So I'm filling in the light sections first with orange, ripping up my pages, and then I'm going in with the cardboard for the darker areas. So again, be creative with materials. There's a lot you can use. Think about if you want to paint colors on, use colors that are already there, magazine pages. Last step is going in with paint. Think about, first of all, what type of paint you want to use. So I'm in this video just using acrylic paint. You could also use oil paint or watercolor. Oil paint's nice to create a good texture, a thicker texture on top. The acrylic paint here is going to be good for blending some different colors and some really small refined details. So this would work great, especially if you're doing an eye or nose section of your portrait. And then watercolor, think about how it's more transparent. So if that's a look that you want, you would probably have to be a little more detailed with the value change underneath, and rip up smaller or cut up smaller pieces of tissue paper or collage material to be extra detailed, because the watercolor is not going to add as much detail since you can see through it, but that could be an effect that you would want to go with. So again, in the video, I'm just using acrylic paint. And I'm looking at my reference picture. So make sure you're looking back at the original reference picture to start to just refine the outline of the face here, bring back some details that are missing. So I'm really going in with my blue and orange. So I'm keeping the color scheme consistent. You could also kind of change up the colors that you're using, but I have blue, orange, black, and white. So I want to kind of emphasize the shadows and emphasize the highlights a little bit more as I'm filling this in. But I'm using the orange for the highlights here, bringing in some of the texture of the hair. I'm making sure to not completely blend things because I do want to see some of my brush strokes, but think about how detailed you want to get with the paint. I'm also making sure that there are some pieces of the book pages showing through, so I'm not covering everything with paint. So make sure that there are still some areas where you can visibly see the texture underneath. But try out different types of paint, maybe even split this up where you have half oil paint, half acrylic, to see what works the best for you.